Okay, so we have our scaffold on the screen, and we would like to add an app bar to this app so that we can push the content down here into the main portion of the screen. And so if we revisit flutter.dev, we have visited the scaffold. Let's go into AppBar, and there are a ton of runnable examples here for experimenting with the configuration of the bar yourself. There are all these different properties. And there is this nice little diagram at the top that gives you kind of the basic rundown of what's possible in an app bar, including the fact that you can have a leading area, which is typically a back arrow or a menu that might open a drawer. You can have actions over here. That might be a notification bell. It might be a profile icon. The title is a text that sits at the top here in a text format. There's some flexible space here to do whatever you need to do, and there's a bottom portion, and that's typically where tabs go if they are top tabs on the screen. So we're going to focus on the title portion, and as we introduce some other things like icons, we can come back and plug those in on the app bar. But we're going to start with a nice, simple app bar on our screen. All right, so if we come back here, we've got our scaffold, we've got our body. So come before body, and let's add an app bar. We see that here. It's going to take a preferred size widget, and a preferred size widget is an app bar. There are other kinds of preferred size widgets, but an app bar is one of them, and that's typically what you're going to apply to the app bar property. And in the app bar, as we can do control space, and we can get all the different properties here, just like we saw on the documentation page. And we are interested in title. So we can see title is going to take a widget, and we're going to give it a text widget. And in our single quotes or double quotes, whichever you prefer, it is going to say whatever you want. So I'm just going to do my first app. And we can see we have a app bar here on the screen with my first app. Our hello world has moved out from this area here and moved down into the main portion of the body. The app bar is smart enough to know where the devices icons are so that the actual portion of the app bar doesn't begin until after that. So that's one of the advantages of having an app bar in your app. So let's just do one more thing, and let's center that title in the app bar. Now, we're starting to get a little messy here. This is becoming a very long run-on widget. And so to fix that, we can format, which we could manually do by starting to hit enter here and maybe here. Or in Visual Studio Code, you can hit Option-Shift-F on a Mac. Or if you are on a Windows machine, hit Alt-Shift-F and it will do the same thing. The way that formatting works, if you're not familiar with it, is you do need a trailing comma to tell it you want a new line. If I were to take that out and reformat again, it would put this up on a line. So it looks a little funny, but always leave a trailing comma if you can, so that your formatting all ends up on a nice clean line. All right, so this gives us a very clear definition of where our app bar begins and starts. And so after the title property, I'm going to hit enter, and I am going to call another property. And I can either find it from the documentation or hit Control Spacebar and find it here. But I want to use the center title property, which if I hover over it tells me it's a Boolean and tells me whether the title should be centered or not. So I am going to say true. I am going to save, and hot reload is going to center my title automatically. So that is coming along, and the next section, let's revisit the text widget. Now, I know we've done some work with the text widget already, but there are some more properties that are very critical to know to alter the way the text looks. So we're going to handle the text widget in the next section.